Sri Sharad Pawar, Union Agriculture Minister, Sri M. Birappa Moili, Minister for Petroleum, Natural Gas, Environment and Forest, His Excellency Mr. A.P. Jagat Pushpakumar Bha, Minister from Sri Lanka, distinguished ministers from different states, distinguished Chief Minister from Madhya Pradesh, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Odisha, Sri Naveen Patnaik, Manipur, Sri Ivovi Singh, Bihar, Sri Nitish Kumar, Meghalaya, Sri Mukul Sangma, Dr. A. Sayappan, Secretary, Department of Agricultural Research, Education and Director General, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Ashish Bahuguna, Secretary, Department of Agriculture, Mr. Anthony J. Simpson, Director General, World Agroforestry Center, Nairobi, distinguished scientists, Dr. S. Swaminathan, Dr. Alakkumar Shikka, Deputy Director General, National Research Management, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, distinguished delegates from abroad, distinguished participants, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to be here today to inaugurate the World Congress on Agroforestry. To begin with, let me extend a very hearty welcome to all the distinguished guests from abroad. I wish them a very comfortable stay and enjoy its salubrious February weather in Delhi. I am also happy to take this opportunity to present the Krishi Karman Awards of the Union Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. I congratulate the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, World Agroforestry Center, and the Indian Society of Agroforestry for jointly organizing this World Agroforestry Congress, being held in the Asia-Pacific region for the first time. I consider it as a great honor to be a part of this historic occasion. In the context of increasing environmental degradation, rising pollution levels, theme of this international conclave, Trees for Life, accelerating the impacts of agroforestry, is truly relevant. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, trees have been an integral part of Indian culture and landscape from the time of yore. During the Vedic Age, which is a period in Indian history between 4500 BC to 1800 BC, a village would be considered complete only with its complement of woodlands in and around the houses. Shurapala, an ancient scholar who lived in the 10th century India and written Briksha Ayurved, or the science of plant life. The text describes arboriculture, which is the science and practice associated with the cultivation, management and study of the individual trees, shrubs, vines and woody plants. Shurapala work mentions 170 species of trees, shrubs and herbs. It also provides a comprehensive description for the treatment of seeds and planting materials, selection of land, water management, plant nutrition, and control of the plant disorders, laying out of gardens and orchards, and growing of rare trees. Much prior to Surapala's account, Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BC had fostered a system of arbory horticulture. Due to medicinal and aesthetic qualities, several trees and shrubs are considered sacred in India. Some, like people, find reference in the ancient religious scriptures. The Puranas extol the virtues of the trees, planting, and I quote, Dasho kupo, Shamovapi, Dasho vapi, Samohrada, Dasho hrada, Samoputro, Dasho putro, Samodruma. It means 10 wells equal to 1 pond, 10 ponds equal to 1 reservoir, 10 reservoirs equal to 1 sun, and 10 suns equal to 1 tree. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, tree-based production system abound the tropical regions of the world, yet natural conservation has taken a back seat owing to the restless human drive towards urbanization, industrialization, and food production. It has also suffered the impact of the climate change, which has captured global attention now. 2014 should be a defining moment for evolving tree-based production system to fight the debilitating impact of the climate change in agriculture. Instances of environmental debasement causing acute farmer distress have come to the fore in the recent past. The ecological foundations of soil, water, biodiversity, and forests, essential for sustained advances in productivity, are under severe strain today. There are estimated 500 million smallholding farmers in the developing world, supporting the livelihood of about 2 billion people. These small farmers who practice family farming are economically vulnerable, recognizing the need to reposition family farming at the center of the agricultural environment and social policies in the national agendas of different countries. The United Nations has declared 2014 as the International Year of Family Farming. Sustainable agricultural production systems based on the principles of environmental protection can indeed have a decisive influence in eliminating hunger and extirpating rural poverty. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, agroforestry offers a significant opening in resetting our priorities on farm sustainability. It is emerging as a major domain in environmentally sustainable food production systems. Agroforestry systems produces food, fuel, and fiber, contributes to food and nutritional security, sustains livelihoods, helps in preventing deforestation, increases biodiversity, protects water resources, and reduces erosion. Carbon sequestration of the agroforestry farms is a low-hanging fruit for climate change mitigation, justifying greater investment in them. Agroforestry is also an important alternative to meet the target of increasing the vegetation cover to 33% from the present level of below 25%. In India, agricultural land makes up over 43% of the total geographical area. Forests occupy about 23%. There exists a vast potential for using agricultural land as a source of timber. It is estimated that already about 64% of India's timber requirement is made from the trees grown on the farm. Agroforestry also meets almost half of the total demand of 201 million ton of fuel wood in the country. Agroforestry generates 450 labor days per hectare annually without negating the farm productivity or income from farm. Though the Green Revolution helped India attain self-sufficiency in food grain production, the indiscriminate use of fertilizer and pesticides and improper land use management led to extensive environmental degradation, eventually affecting the crop yield. Agroforestry is alluring us an alternate land use option. Integration of agricultural and forest crops would not only prevent further land degradation but also ensure timber and firewood availability to the rural population. The potential of agroforestry to contribute to the sustainable development has been recognized internationally as well. For instance, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change have acknowledged agroforestry as a crucial constituent of climate smart agriculture. The United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification recognizes agroforestry as a key prospect for controlling desertification and pursuing rehabilitation. The Convention on Biological Diversity views agroforestry as a central element in its ecosystem approach for conservation of biodiversity. Agroforestry is perhaps the only land use activity that has etched a relevant role for itself in the approaches espoused by these three important United Nations conventions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, undoubtedly, agroforestry holds immense promise in enhancing the productivity of land in an environmentally and economically sustainable manner. Greater research is today required in agroforestry, focused on creating eco-technologies that purposefully blend traditional ecological prudence and renewable energy technology. India has been in the forefront of the research on agroforestry. The Indian Council of Agricultural Research had initiated a network project, All India Coordinated Research Project on Agroforestry in 1983. It has also established a National Research Center on Agroforestry in 1988. The Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education has recently initiated steps of unveiling another network program on agroforestry. State agricultural universities having forestry or agroforestry departments partner in these network activities. These pioneering efforts have created a critical mass of manpower in the field of agroforestry in the country. Despite the large spin-offs of the agroforestry can deliver, its development is hampered by lack of policy initiatives, inadequate knowledge of the dissemination, legal constraints, and poor coordination among its beneficiary sectors. Inadequate investment, lack of suitable extension strategies, and weak market linkages compound the woes of this sector. Rather than being discouraged by long gestation periods normally associated with agroforestry projects, we need innovative models that encourage investment in this sector. Agroforestry, as a promoting sector, can no longer remain constricted by tunnel vision. I am happy at the efforts being made to elevate agroforestry to a wider framework in our policy discourse. I am told that a draft national agroforestry policy has been prepared, which I hope will be finalized soon. A national mission on agroforestry has been planned that will ensure better coordination, seek convergence, and derive synergy between various players operating in this sector. I am confident that this Congress will provide a platform for concrete and meaningful discussions on the agroforestry sector. The time for ideologic sermoning is over. The cylinders can no longer remain idle. It is time to fire. With these words, I conclude. May this Congress achieve all success. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.